Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tier Lists, a thing that many people still do. Isn't that right, Alexa?
It is right. Very
So,
right.
with me today is Alexa. She is the person that appeared in a couple episodes of Baking Bad, and she helped edit the first all of the seasons actually, from my
Yeah.
memory. And it's very simple. On the left here, we have a bunch of pets that I might want in the future, and we are going to be ranking them on this list. So, Alexa, would you like to start off with our bottom and top pick?
Well, since we don't have a leopard gecko on the list, we have to go with the next best thing, which is the bearded dragon, which is going at the very top,
All
which we
right.
can both agree on.
I think that we can agree on that. Now,
Yeah.
which is the worst pet here that we could possibly have?
Um, probably I'm the dwarf caiman kind of rubs me the wrong way because you said it's a toe biter, and I don't like the sound of that.
But on the other hand, it's not going to kill you. This most
So it's
certainly
not the
will.
worst.
This most
Yeah, that's
certainly will kill
definitely
you.
the worst.
This is an F.
Yeah.
Uh, King Cobras are stinky. Okay.
The dwarf caiman should go in like D tier.
All right. If we're gonna do the D for dwarf caiman,
Yeah, it's like we're ranking it based on how much we like them and how like much you would want them as a pet,
like how
right?
practical as a pet that these creatures would be. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of D, next is next is
Wow.
Don Cheadle, who's going right in S rank with the bearded dragon. He's a close second.
Yeah. Um,
uh,
he represents the S tier pretty well, in my opinion.
yes. Uh, Next up is one of the few on the list, actually the only on the list, that actually I have owned in the past, and that is the angelfish. I had a small one by the name of Angelo who killed all his brothers and sisters. It might have been an Angelina, I don't know for sure. Do you have anything to add?
Um, no, that's it.
They're
That's it
B
for the
tier. They're
angelfish.
B tier.
They're all right, but they're not the best.
Exactly.
Um, who else is on this list? We have we have the toad, right?
Yes, we have both the toads. We have the Pac-Man frog and the chubby frog.
Okay, the question is which one is better?
We
And I think
already
we
know
both
the
know.
answer, so we'll choose the
Yeah,
lowest one. This is
yeah.
the Pac-Man frog.
I
They're
think he should go in
basically like the
C for
most
a cool name.
like like it's
D.
boring. It's boring, so it's like a D. But then
No,
it
but he
has a
has a
cool
bonus
name,
points for a cool name.
so C for
Bonus
cool, I guess.
A for cool. And
Next up
then well, the other frog on the list, right?
is I don't think that we need to really tell you about why it's at the top. So I'm just gonna let the God
It's
damn it.
really just it's
The
just
boom
clear.
slangs just want some screen time. It's
Yeah, we
it's
might as well just
truly
give it
the
to him.
ideal pet in all manner.
Yeah.
So next up, I guess, what's a pet that what's like a display pet that you can't really touch here? Uh,
Uh, which ones are poisonous? Is the neon day gecko poisonous?
nah,
It
he's
looks
fine.
very
He's fine.
poisonous.
Nah, he's fine.
Like I would not touch it,
Nah,
but
he's
all right.
perfectly fine. He feels like a banana.
Oh, well then let's put him in A because he's
Like he's not
fun,
as
right?
cool as the guys in S, but he's certainly cool.
Yeah. He looks coolest.
I don't like the way that that Don Cheadle is looking at the day gecko.
You could just like crop his like eyes off of the template a little bit. You don't have to have him
Let's just
staring.
yeah, there we go. That looks
Yeah.
way better. God
Oh
no.
no, no.
All right.
God.
Next up, what's a tasty one? Oh, this one is. So this next one is the mahi mahi. Now I couldn't find prices for live ones. They were all per pound of fillet. So F for
Yeah, I
fillet, I
don't think
guess.
F for fillet, and they're not a pet, I don't think.
No, no, not at all.
I wouldn't want it in my house even if it was, so I don't it's F either way.
It's
It
F either way.
doesn't it doesn't have another way up.
There's just no way around it. There's no, just no. Okay.
Yeah, all right. Should we rate the boom slang?
I guess the boom slang because it's been begging for screen time. It looks.
Yeah, it's
The, uh,
a
it
bit of
will
an
kill your
attention
bird
seeker.
friends. If you own a bird or know anybody that owns a bird, do not get a boom slang because it will almost certainly end in its arrest and death. So,
Well, I'm not really okay with that.
but they're very cute. So I would say B for boom slang, but they're bad. So D for doom slang. And I guess that's that for now. All right. Next up is we just had a bad boy snake, so it's bad boy. Oh, not your turn yet. It's bad boy lizard time.
A,
Tokay gecko. He will bite you.
A.
He's like the one of the. He
Okay,
will bite
B
you.
for biter.
B for biter. He's a biter, but
But
he's
he's
also
not
beautiful.
bad.
He's a
He's
beautiful
higher up
biter.
on the list.
He's not bad by nature. Okay,
It's not his fault.
it's not his fault. Let's just go down the list as we have here. Next up is the
Okay.
crested gecko. How do you feel about the
They're like
crested
the
gecko?
closest. They're like the closest thing to a leopard gecko. So I think it's A tier because it's not quite as superior as the ones that we put in S. It's arguably better than that man, but you know what? A works.
I wouldn't say that about Don Cheadle. Okay.
All right, I take it back then. I'm sorry.
Behind that, he's staring at
He didn't see. He
you.
didn't see. He doesn't know who said it. He doesn't know who said it. He didn't see.
He can't
We
see.
blocked off his vision.
What
He
you
couldn't
don't
see
see
it.
can't hurt you, Mr. Cheadle. Next up is the sea dragon.
I forgot we put that in. Um, C for sea dragon. And also the frog is getting lonely.
Frog is very lonely. E tier is the loneliest tier. Okay. East African eating snake. How do you feel
Um,
about the East African egg eating snake?
well, the way you described the feeding process, kind of gross.
Just for the babies.
So,
Just for the babies. They'll eat
well,
like whole eggs as an adult.
I don't think I want that. I don't like it.
E for
I
egg.
would put it in E. Yeah, E for egg.
Egg. He's not
I
quite
just
as bad
really
as the
don't like
mahi
him.
mahi or the yeah.
I just don't
Shame.
like him. He's
Okay, next up is the
weird.
dragon snake, and I think that it goes without saying that I probably should not be allowed to own one of these.
Yeah, but D for dragon, right?
Yeah, they're cool and everything, but it's just a really difficult to keep beast. Whoopsie dupsie. I guess the gargoyle gecko is next. How do you feel
Hmm.
about the gargoyle gecko? Would you say
I
that
mean,
it's superior to any of the other geckos on this list?
I think anything that's a gecko is automatically like better than everything else. So, but it's not as good as the S tiers. So I think A works for that. I just think no gecko
Oof.
deserves anything lower than B, right?
Exactly. Just because tokay geckos are bad boys, as in they're biters, they don't like you, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that they're not good pets.
Yeah.
It's not like they're gonna rip your finger off or anything. Okay, next
Yeah.
is the iguana.
At least not on purpose.
Next is the iguana.
S.
S? Would you say S for
Yes.
iguana? No, 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 no. I'm
S
gonna
for
say yes, S for iguana.
what were you trying? Take it back right now. He heard that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Cheadle. But I like to think that Don Cheadle's entire house is just full of these things. Because the tokay gecko is getting lonely and needs a reptile friend in B.
All
Because
right, fine. It
they will
doesn't. It's
also
never
tail
seen
whip
a
you.
fish in its life. It's never seen a fish in its life. You're like put it, like you just like put an invasive species next to it and just told him to deal with it. So he
Okay,
really needed the iguana.
you can see that we mostly don't like snakes from our placement of them here, don't you?
That just seems to be how it's working out.
Okay, and finally, the last snake on the list is the bush viper. How do you feel about the
Um,
bush viper?
well, I mean, if I saw it, I would just let it kill me because it seems like it would just be
Bro,
over
it's
right
like
then
the
and
size,
there.
like you can fit it in the palm of your hand. It's perfectly
What?
fine. Yeah.
Oh, well then in that case, I want it.
Well, it's probably illegal where in Canada, and
Oh, well in that
it's
case, I
also like a
don't.
dragon snake kind of issue.
Um,
Would you say it's
you're
cooler
giving
than a
me
dragon
really
snake?
mixed.
It
I have
is
very
cool.
mixed thoughts
It
on
is
it.
cool. So I will put
I
it in C tier.
I think C is a good ranking for that.
Next up is the morning gecko. It's a
I like
gecko,
it.
which
It
automatically
looks
means that it's superior to everything. But
yes, and it looks tiny. It's
it
like
is
on a leaf.
tiny. It is
I
tiny.
like it.
It's like
I mean,
half a wizard right there.
if you put that one in your pocket, you probably lose it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's your fault for putting it in your pocket in the first place.
I guess so.
I'd say a B tier because that's the law of the geckos.
Yeah.
Okay, and the final one on the list, the Savannah Monitor. How do you feel, Alexa, about the Savannah Monitor as a pet?
Well, they look very cute, but I'm almost certain they're dangerous.
No, they're actually perfectly fine. They might bite you, but it's a show of affection. You won't bleed either. Also, their biggest danger is the smell of their poo.
Uh,
Also,
okay.
while they are big, they're no bigger than like a computer monitor screen. So, just keep
All
that in
right.
mind. What do you say?
Well, I don't know. You just
I wouldn't say S for Savannah. I would, but I think that C tier is a good placement for them given everything.
Yeah, I guess so. They're not a snake, so they don't get to go that low.
Snakes are fine, all right? Snakes are perfectly
Snakes
fine.
are fine, but
These
just
are
like
just bad examples of snakes. Very
in
bad examples.
comparison to what's at the top of our list, I think the snakes are in a fair spot.
Wait, hold up. The S
What?
rank is one third reptile only. A tier is 100% gecko. B tier is half gecko. Once you reach B tier, there's no lower that includes a single gecko. I think that we might be a bit biased. What do you say?
Maybe, but it is our list, isn't it?
Yeah. Uh, maybe we should do another one of these kind of tier lists later, because given how easy it is to do them now.
Yeah. Except should we use the actual thing now, or is this
No, this is obviously the superior format.
fair
God